Great day to start a company. All right. By the way, at startupbiz.com, I don't know who owns .org, but now that you've promoted it, I'm going to have to go buy it. So, as Hutch said, I've done a lot of things in my career, but helping to bring this program to South Florida and helping to run this program is probably one of the ones that I'm most proudest of. And one of the things that you'll get out of this program about being part of Startup Quest is a network. And I've made friends and colleagues, Mason, and Jack, and Nancy, and Sandy, and Susan. They'll be friends and colleagues for life. And that's what success is all about. It's about your network. So I'd like to share a story. In sharing a story, I have three objectives. I want to give you some pointers about how you play this game and how you win this game. I want to do it by sharing one of my startup stories called iCopyright. I've had 7 startup companies. 3 were spectacular failures. And they helped me to learn how to have reasonable success with the 4 others. And so this was the company. It was called iCopyright. This was sort of the parameters, the results of that. I started the company in 1998. Over the life of the company and numerous financing, I raised $30 million in venture capital for that company. I had 25 million daily customers for this. I had 110 employees. I started with just myself in my dining room and then built it up to about 110 people. We reinvented a 300-year-old industry, and we became the market leader, and we're a market leader for a decade. And you look at that and you go, Mike, that's awesome, that's great. You must have had amazing advantages. The truth is, when I started iCopyright, I had no industry experience. I wasn't an attorney. This copyright is it has some legal ramifications. I had no clue about copyright. Probably no more than what you understand what copyright is today, other than this little C at the bottom of newspapers and magazines. I wasn't looking to start a company. I had no knowledge, no market knowledge, no industry knowledge. I had no connections, and I had no money. And that's what I built. And so I want to dispel the notion that you have to have these inherent amazing advantages to be an entrepreneur and to start a company. And my story, this is not unique. I've met more entrepreneurs like me who didn't have the advantages and built very successful companies. And if we can do it, you can do it. Anybody can do it. And so what I want to share with you today are some of the tips, some of the things that I learned, how I played the game, and how I learned to win at the game. 50% of success in life is just showing up, right? You have to show up. Being curious, listening to everything and everybody and picking up cues. Realizing that all things are possible, not being dismissive, not being judgmental, and being open to a stream of consciousness. That's the first criteria of entrepreneurship. What do I mean by show up? So most entrepreneurs, when they show up at the field, they don't even know whether there's going to be a game. If there is going to be a game, they don't know whether they're going to be allowed to play. If they are allowed to play, they have no idea whether they're going to get a hit and get on base, and certainly have no idea whether they're going to make it around and score. That's entrepreneurship. You guys showed up today. You're at the field. You're at the first point. You're already open to the idea of starting a company, or maybe joining a startup team, or being hired by one, or improving your skills to make you more employable by companies who want these skills. They need them for their very survival. So openness, that's the first one. How did this manifest for me for iCopyright? How did this start for me? It was 1997. I was working for a company called Design Intelligence, which had a dream team of programmers. A dream team. They had the #1 employee at Microsoft. You ever see that picture of Microsoft, the 7 people that are in the Smithsonian Institute, right behind Bill Gates and Paul Allen? There's employee #1, Mark McDonald, helped start this company. and the number 15 employee at Microsoft, the inventor of PageMaker, the inventor of WordPerfect. It was a dream team. I thought this was the last job I was ever going to have. This was an amazing company. I was thrilled just to be part of it. They were creating a product called iPublish. It was the first DTP, stands for desktop publishing, auto layout, auto drag, auto drop in design. You could take anything off the internet, off of CD-ROM, from your Word doc, and it would dump it into iPublish, and you click newspaper, and you have a newspaper. Or you click resume, and have a resume. And it didn't matter whether you threw animation at it, a picture at it, text at it, it auto drag and drop. It was a revolutionary product. It redefined what we know as desktop publishing today. Fabulous product, right? Why would I want to do anything else but that? Right? That's an awesome experience. We were going to trade shows, and we'd be demoing this thing, and I love to demo it. I've been dragging and dropping stuff off the internet into iPublish, and it would add fonts and designs and colors, and it all looked beautiful. Didn't matter whether you were creating a newsletter, a marketing piece, a website, it did it all. Took source material from anywhere, and with one push of a button, published it out as a print or as a web. It didn't matter. Great product, right? Users loved it. I need that. I want that. How much? When's it going to be ready? They wanted that. They wanted to be able to have that kind of power. Publishers, on the other hand, they're scratching their head because I'd be dragging and dropping stuff off their website and this thing called iPublish, and they're like, you can't do that. What do you mean I can't do that? You just took my logo. You just took pictures off my site. You grabbed text from and you created something new with it. You can't do that. I can't? Why not? You know, I wasn't dismissive. I wasn't judgmental about it. I wasn't defensive about it. I listened. Okay, what problem does that create? So that's the start in being open and non-dismissive and non-judgmental. And man, these are pitches being thrown at you. Blogs and radio and newspaper and talking heads everywhere. We have this stream of consciousness coming at us all the time, right? Well, one of these times you're going to have to step up to the plate and take a swing at one of them, right? That's you be open to the stream of consciousness. And that's how you get on base. You get up to base, you get up to bat by being open to the stream of consciousness and by getting an insight. All great businesses are started with an insight. What is an insight? How do we define that? It's a problem. It's a need. It's a pattern, a hunch, a gut feeling. It's an instinct. You have it. And the interesting thing about it is it appears to be non-obvious to everybody else. Have you ever found yourself, sitting in a line somewhere at a grocery store or driving in the car, and you know yourself, why does that work that way? That's stupid. It really should work this way. Have you ever done that? That's an insight, right? All great companies are founded on insight. That's stepping up to the plate and getting ready to take a swing. That's all business, that's all being an entrepreneur requires. How did that manifest for me at Design Intelligence in 1996? I was hearing repetitive feedback from publishers. I'm concerned about that. Why are you dragging my stuff off my website and making a newspaper with it? So repetitive feedback, consistent concerns. It was ignored by others. All the other sales guys around me, they would dismiss it. They were judgmental about it. Well, that's the internet, man. That's these new tools. You can't stop these new tools. Microsoft doesn't get sued when you drag and drop stuff into Microsoft Word. Why should we care? They were dismissive. They were judgmental about it. I was not. I was open to listening, to getting an insight. And I asked a question that changed my life. It was a vice president of Business Week magazine, which is now Bloomberg. And I did the demo for her. And again, she expressed concern. You just dragged the Business Week logo into your desktop publishing and made a newsletter with it. That's concerning. And so I asked a question that changed my life. I said to her, so if I wanted to get a permission to use your logo or your picture or your text, what would I need to do? And the answer changed my life. She said, you have to call Marge. And I went, I have to call Marge. Yes, you call Marge, and you leave her a message. She's our rights and permissions person at Business Week. 2 or 3 days later, she'll call you back. And she'll ask you what you want to do with the material, with our material, and you tell her what you want to do, and then she'll fax you a form. And you fill out the fax and you fax it back. And then she'll go talk to the editors in the legal department, and a couple of weeks later, you'll get a call knowing whether you got your permission or not. And I looked at her and I said, Barb, that was her name, Barb Monroe, I'll never forget her. That is never going to work on the internet. Internet is about instant gratification, right? That's the insight. I mean, everything's going to be digital. All content's going to be digital. It's all going to be on the internet eventually. It didn't take me, I wasn't a genius to look forward and see that that was coming, that everything was going to be moving from print to digital. But that's an insight. It's all going to be digital. It's all about instant gratification. And if I can take it, I will. But I'm a good person and I want to do the right thing, and so do millions of other people. So the insight is, if you enable them to get the permission instantly, rather than having to call Marge, that might be a business, right? Simple. Isn't that simple? So insight gets you to first base. It leads to an idea. Don't confuse insight with idea. They're two different things. So insight is, why does it work that way? Or should it work a different way? Idea is actionable. You can do something about it. How many times you have somebody pitch you an idea and you look at them like they are crazy because they're trying to boil the ocean? Ideas are only good if they're actionable. You can do something about them. They're relatable. You can relate to them. You have the problem. You understand the need. You have this unique insight, right? And when you tell other people and explain the situation, they go, I think you're right. That is a problem, right? It's relatable. It's a possible product. It's a possible service. It could be a company. All you need is a prototype, proof of concept, and you make it a pet project. That's all an idea is. Sometimes I've known entrepreneurs who told me that they had an insight that turned into an idea, and it took 10 years. That's how long it took to incubate and think, and it was a pet project. Man, that's being walked. You'd be walked first. I'd rather like bun it or get a little hit and, I've known some entrepreneurs who get an insight and they're to the idea stage in days. So it doesn't matter. It's the insight driven by inspiration that gets you on first. That's the idea. How did that manifest itself for me? So hearing all of these concerns, I went to my boss, the CEO of the company, and I said, Keith, the users absolutely love this product. It's going to revolutionize desktop publishing. But there's some concerns that are being expressed by the people who own the content. They're concerned that their materials are going to be taken and cut and paste and put into iPublish, and they're going to lose their rights in them, and they're going to lose attribution. I think if we could build this feature into iPublish, it would make it an even better product. That's how it started. And Keith said, you might be right. I don't know, but let's do skunkworks. You run with it, Mike. Go beg, borrow, steal from developers, some time, some help. Look into it, and if it's a feature we can build into iPublish, I'm open to it. That's all I needed. All I needed was someone to crack open the door a little bit for me to just to act on this idea. I went and talked to more publishers. I researched the industry and market. I got smart about copyright and about content piracy and what that was going to mean in the world, how people did it, the Marges of the world, what was I competing against to fix this problem, and I developed a little prototype along with iPublish. That's all it was an idea. It was a pet project. I didn't give up my day job. I didn't mortgage my home. I didn't max out my credit cards. I just had a pet project. So the idea then has to move to viability. You have to prove that it's viable. And you know what? This is where a lot of entrepreneurs get discouraged because they have this brilliant insight. They come up with an idea for a product or service, and they think someone's going to come up to bat behind them and bat them to second. They're not. No investor is going to invest in your idea. You got to steal second. What does stealing second mean? It means taking the risk yourself to do what you need to do to prove that your idea, based on this insight, is viable. This is one of the great teachings of Startup Quest. One of the things that I love about this program is it takes these technologies from NASA and from the universities. They're nascent, they're raw, they're in the lab, they're just ideas that were based on an insight. And through this program, you learn whether they can become viable. Right? That's one of the great things about Startup Quest. So, to get from first to second, to get from idea to viability, it has to be transferable. It can't just operate within Design Intelligence, one company. It's got to be transferred to the market, right? You got to think about how you're going to transfer this idea everywhere. It's got to be validated by real customers, real users. You've got to have product market fit, that whatever idea you have for this product or service, it fits with the market need. Someone's willing to pay for it. How scalable is it? I have entrepreneurs pitch me all the time because I invest in early stage companies, and they don't know whether their idea is $1 million idea or $100 million idea. You need to know. How scalable is it? Is this a lifestyle business, or is this potentially a global company? Got to make a business case, which is typically a business plan. Another thing that you'll learn at Startup Quest is how to do a business plan. That's making the business case. How profitable could this idea be? What are the economics of financing it, marketing it, building it? And then what resource requirements? Human resources, technical resources, all of the expertise to build it. That's what it means to prove viability. It's a business plan. And that's probably the greatest teaching at Startup Quest, is how to take that idea and get to viability. So how did that manifest for me at Design Intelligence? Remember, it's still 1997. I just got this idea. I pitched it to the CEO. I want to build it into our current product. So I did an MVP, which stands for minimum viable product. I got a I got a working prototype of sort of what I thought this might look like as part of our iPublish product. I talked to more users. I looked at the technical and manufacturing build requirements. I presented my findings to the CEO and the board of directors of Design Intelligence. And they looked at me and went, man, you are on a different field. This is a different game you're talking about, Mike. We cannot do this as part of iPublish. Matter of fact, this is 10 times bigger than iPublish. And you have to make a choice. You can stick with us and help us launch iPublish, be the next great desktop publishing product in the world, or you can follow this insight, this idea, and we'll spin it out, and you can run with your idea. But you're talking about a different game, man. This is a different field. So I chose to spin out. And as part of the spin out, Design Intelligence, who just let me incubate this thing, trying to extend their product, I gave them 15% of the company. And I started this company called iCopyright. That product is now Microsoft Publisher, iPublish. It was acquired by Microsoft. And that drag and drop technology is in PowerPoint and auto design. And that 15% that I gave Design Intelligence, they almost went out of business. They were negotiating the purchase of their company by Microsoft, and they ran out of money. They're about ready to lose their team. Right? They ran out of runway. They sold that 15% in iCopyright for $1 million. And it extended them the runway to get the deal done with Microsoft. Microsoft bought their company, and the rest is history. All those people went to work for Microsoft, got great jobs. The product is now called Microsoft Publisher and PowerPoint and all that. So my story helped make their story also more successful. All right. So that's the hard part, right? So I had an insight, driven by inspiration. I turned it into an idea. I stole second and took the risk to prove viability. And man, this is the hard part, getting around the third. You know what? Because when you take the risk, it's really hard for someone to throw you out. That's a long way to throw you out at second. It's a real short throw here. You know, people are looking to throw you out. It's a short throw. It's hard. This is about strategy. Moving from viability to strategy. This is the eureka moment. This is the misnomer about all entrepreneurship. I woke up in the middle of the night and I had an idea and it was eureka. No idea is eureka. Bringing the idea to life. How to bring it to market is where the eureka moment happens. When someone says they had a eureka moment, it's not an idea. Because ideas in themselves have no value. It's how to execute on the idea. The strategy behind how you're going to bring it to market. How can you take this idea and make it one of a kind so no one else can do it? Can you create defensible barriers to entry? IP stands for intellectual property. Can what you do be patented? Can you have a trademark that creates a brand that everybody rallies around? Do you have a unique go-to-market strategy that will help you growth hack? You don't have enough money to get 1 million users. You got to growth hack 1 million customers. You got to find out how other people can get you the 1 million customers that you need, or 10,000 or 1,000. This is all part of strategy. And this is where most entrepreneurs fall down because it requires expertise. You cannot do it by yourself. I did not know how to do all that, right? I needed IP attorneys. I needed advisors. I needed people smart in copyright. I needed people who knew how to build technology. And so getting the third requires expertise looking outside of yourself. And part of the strategy is it possible to make this product, this company, a monopoly? I know that's like, oh, that's a bad word in America. It's an awesome word. Do you don't think Google's a monopoly? Google's a monopoly. When you've got 80% market share, you're a monopoly, right? Microsoft, they own the operating system, the desktop, for 20 years. You don't think they were a monopoly? The government tried to break them up as a monopoly. Look at Exxon. Look at all the great companies. You don't think we have monopolies in this country? We got a lot of monopolies. There's a book written by Peter Thiel, who was the founder of PayPal, called 0 to 1. Highly recommend it. What Peter Thiel says in that book, 0 to 1, is you create a company that become a monopoly, you win. So that was it. So how did I do that? How did I get from viability to strategy? How did I get the third? I had the eureka moment. I literally woke up in the middle of the night. You know how you wake up in the middle of the night and you reach for that scratch pad next to your bed and you jot down some ideas? And the next day you wake up and you read it and you go, what the hell was I, what is that? You know it's a eureka moment when you can't get back to sleep. You get up and you jot down that idea and you go back to bed and you're like staring at the ceiling and you cannot go back to sleep. You know you have your eureka moment, right? That's when you know. That's when you have the strategy. My strategy was this. The copyright symbol is on everything. Every website, every newspaper, every magazine, every video, every song. It's used worldwide. It's used in China, in Africa, in Europe, in America. It's used everywhere, right? It already exists. But guess what? It's stupid. It doesn't know about the content it sits on. And I said, I copyright. I publish intelligent design, intelligent copyright, right? Learning something that I had just been in. If I could hover over the copyright symbol and it could pop up a little message and say, this is who owns it, this is what you can do with it, one click and you get your permission. Make the copyright symbol intelligent, right? That's the eureka moment. The copyright symbol already exists. It just doesn't know about itself, doesn't know about what it sits on. Can I copyright build a system that it would know about the content it sits on? So I called up my attorney the next day that I started working with. I said, can I copyright the copyright symbol? He's like, Mike, that symbol is a trademark, so I don't know anything. Symbols and designs are trademarks. Copyrights are for text. So what you're talking about is a symbol, like the Apple symbol and the Starbucks symbol, and, you know, those are trademarks. I said, well, can I trademark the copyright symbol? He said, it's in the public domain. It's been used for 300 years. I said, it's used worldwide, right? It's been adapted worldwide by every publisher, every language. Yep. So I said, well, can we create a different version of the copyright symbol and trademark that? And he said, I don't know whether that's ever been tried. I'll get back to you. He calls the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, gets the info, calls me back and goes, turns out you can trademark the copyright symbol. So then I said, all right, how do I do that? So I got a smart team together, and we took 3 universal, ubiquitous symbols used in every country, every language, 3 universal, ubiquitous symbols used all over the world, and turned them into one brand. We started with an arrow. You know, the arrow is a universal symbol, right? Points the way. This is the way to go. We add the copyright symbol. Universal symbol, ubiquitous, used all over the world. And then the international symbol for information, the I. Took 3 universal symbols, turned them into one symbol, and created I copyright. You don't even have to see the word to know what it is, right? And then the strategy was go to every publisher in the world and say, will you replace the regular old, stupid, static copyright symbol with the I copyright symbol? It's cool, and it's going to know about the content it sits on. And they all said yes. Right? Strategy, brand. So then we filed some patents on how to do this. I started working on an advisory team. My first advisor was a former governor of New York called Hugh Carey, who knew everybody in the publishing world and helped me get in to get some marquee accounts. That's a part of the strategy. Who your first customers are is everything, because people follow the leaders. So when I got Business Week magazine to sign up for iCopyright, and the LA Times and Reuters and the Associated Press, all the publishers started following. Then I got a lead investor, one of my best friends to this day, Dan Sauerhoff. I sold him on a PowerPoint presentation, but I had the viability proven, right? I had minimum viable product. He then helped me get Guy Kawasaki, Garage.com. Then we got Crosslink and Menlo, and we ended up raising, over the life of the company, I raised over $30 million and started getting lots of media buzz. We had strategy, man. We're grounding home. I'm going to be rich. But this is where it all falls apart. Because if you get all that, you got to execute. Getting from third place to home base without being thrown out, right, tagged out, is hard. Strategy is about plan and tactics. Execution is about plan and tactics. It's about a coach. You know, in baseball, you got the third base coach going, go, go, go. You don't know where the ball is. You need to follow the coach. Go, just keep running. Or no, hold up. You need a coach. You need advisors, boards, smart people who can see the playing field because you can't. Right? You need coach. You need team. You need smart people, management. You need marketing and sales. You need partnerships, strategic partnerships. You need good operations so that the company will scale. You need customer love. How are you going to support the customer once you bring them live? And you better understand how your competition is positioned and how they're going to respond to you coming into the market. I didn't know any of that. Right? I got some expertise, but I'm running from home. Everything's in place. It's looking good. I want to score. Unfortunately, we did not execute right. I got the third. We were late to product, late to market with our product. We had the wrong pricing model. At the encouragement of the board of directors and the venture capitalists, I stepped aside as CEO. We recruited in another CEO. Wrong choice. New CEO fired my whole team, brought in her whole team. Bad team. I could write a whole book, do a whole session just on execution and how it can all go wrong. The greatest potential companies, this is where they will fail. This is where Google gets it right, Apple gets it right. This is where people get it right. I did not get it right. Still a decent win, still in business today, but never going to be what it could have been. We underestimated the competitive response. They essentially just copied our technology. And the attorney said, yeah, well, you can sue them. Yeah, they could. You haven't got your patents yet. They're just pending, right? They've got a different version of the copyright symbol than you. They just copied your whole model. And yes, you can sue them, but you can't win in court. You have to win in the marketplace. We had a partner that stole our technology. I was in a 2-year protracted lawsuit, cost me $500,000, and I was burning $1 million a month. That was my burn rate. And subsequently, because of all of that, started getting bad press. So, in wrapping up, I gave you some pointers on how to play the game and how to win the game. First, openness to the stream of consciousness. That is going to provide you with an insight, right? Driven by inspiration, which is going to lead you to your idea. You're going to need to steal second to prove its viability. You're going to need to get some expertise to get a brilliant strategy. And then you're going to have to execute well to score. And that's part of what Startup Quest is all about. Helping you round those bases, slide in safe. Thank you very much.